This is Hot Mic.
Hot Mic.
On the networks of WDAY.
WDAY.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mic rolls on. We've already had a Power Pack show. We got another one today. Anytime we can get an Olympian on the show, you clear out everything. And I'm super pumped to have our next guest on. I was bugging him in his days in Fargo at North Dakota State, and I'm glad he didn't big time me. He remembers because now he's an Olympian, and he's trying to become a two-time Olympian. Our pleasure to welcome onto the show Payton Otterdahl from Eugene, Oregon, the site of the US Olympic trials that begin. The shot put goes tonight, and then the finals on Saturday, which I said yesterday. I honestly, I'm not sucking up to you. I really think the shot put team might be the hardest team to make for Team USA. Is that accurate?
It's definitely up there. It is a regular saying that making Team USA in track and field is one of the hardest teams to make in the world.
Well, and one of your best friends is the world champ, Ryan Krauser. I mean, he just alone, is that intimidating? Is it, or is it you inspire that I aspire to be that because he's right there?
I mean, the state of the sport is unreal right now, and in the U.S. and shot put alone, I'm competing against number one all time, the world record holder, the best to ever do it, and number two all time, second all time, best to ever do it. He would be over the old world record if not for Krauser now. So, I mean, it's truly just an unbelievable time to be a U.S. shot putter. And then you got me way down a little bit, but still number 13 all time. So it's still it's truly a crazy time to be a U.S. shot putter.
It's great to see you. Just give me the emotions here of getting ready to do this again. How different does this feel than 3 years ago?
3 years ago, it was kind of like I was more hoping to make the team instead of, willing it to happen and feeling confident coming into the trials. 3 years ago, I was just kind of hoping that we'd be able to make the team. It wasn't like I feel like I just got kind of lucky in 2021. I managed to put together a big personal best and make it. But this time I'm feeling much more confident around. I feel like I've grown as an athlete in the last few years and gotten better as a shot putter. So my confidence is much higher coming this time around for the trials.
I remember watching Payton, you compete that night. I got chills seeing the throw you had. Give me the emotions when that throw you had. Did you know right away, okay, this is a big one?
Yeah, I mean, usually as a shot putter, you can tell if it's a big throw as soon as it leaves your hand. And I knew right away that was something that was going to be big, and seeing it land and being only, I think it was 3 centimeters further than the next competitor, Darrell Hill. It was unbelievable the way it turned out, and it was awesome.
What was the experience in Tokyo like? I know this is 3 years ago, but now you've had some time to look back on it. What was it like for you to go? And then when was the moment you realized I'm competing at the Olympics?
I don't know. I don't know when it finally set in. I must have already been in Tokyo, but it was definitely a different Olympic experience talking to a lot of the multiple time Olympians because it was right during the height of COVID. Japan had a lot of restrictions. And we weren't allowed to have fans there, and we weren't allowed to leave the Olympic Village under any circumstances. They still did, the best they could for us, and it was still an amazing experience. Japan put on an amazing Olympics, and it was still just quite a unique experience. But I'm hoping this time around to get a more normal Olympic experience in Paris.
You went to the Worlds last year. How, for people that don't follow track, that's right there with the Olympics. What was that experience like to throw at the Worlds last year?
It's just as high of a competition as the Olympics. It's just only for track and field. Right. That's what makes the Olympics really cool, is that you have all the sports there competing together. You get to meet a whole bunch of different athletes. But the world champs, which happens every other year for track, it's just as high stakes for us as the Olympics. It just doesn't, the Olympics only comes around every 4 years versus 2 for Worlds. So that was an amazing experience too. Budapest was a beautiful city, and they put on just an amazing championships.
If I would have told you 5 years ago out of NDSU, you would have traveled the world doing this. I know that was the goal, but now you've done it. Does it seem surreal?
It really does. I mean, what this sport has been able to do for me, I'm so thankful and gracious for, because, throwing this heavy metal ball has taken me around the world. It's giving me friends from all sorts of different backgrounds and walks of life and nationalities, and and I think it still has more to give me. So I'm just so thankful to be able to do this. It's truly amazing.
I asked this of other track athletes. I know I asked you this, but for people that didn't see this interview, tell me about the shot. Was the shot put the one you fell in love with, or was there another event you liked, but you were just better at this one?
I like discus, and it usually depended on what I was better at that week. Whatever was going well. Sometimes you end up in a slump in certain events, and then other ones are doing better. So for a while in college, it was kind of going back and forth between shot and discus. But I think my junior year, the shot put started pulling away from the discus, so I started enjoying that more.
Your experience at NDSU, give us what's the best way to describe that, to win two national championships here? I mean, what did NDSU mean for what you've been able to do?
Going to NDSU, it set me up for being the athlete and person that I am today. It's funny because, don't come at me for this, NDSU fans, but I didn't even want to take my visit to NDSU because I had been to Fargo before, and I came in, I think it was either January or February. I'm like, I don't want any part of that. And I'm from Minnesota, so I'm used to winter, but the Fargo winters are something else. So I didn't even want to come. My mom talked me into it, thank God. And I went on, and I fell in love with the campus. I fell in love with the coaches, teammates there. I just really liked the camaraderie there between the teammates. All the Bison thrower guys, they all lived together, trained together. It just really felt like a close-knit group, and that was something I wanted to be a part of. And Coach St. Clair obviously was so driven and motivated and captivating to me. I just knew, like, this is the guy I want to compete for. And the rest is kind of history. I love my time at NDSU. It was amazing, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
So much so that your brothers all followed suit. I mean, you paved the way there.
Yeah. They definitely had a monopoly on Otterdahl throwers, that's for sure.
Is it when you say that story now, do you kind of just shake your head like, man, I didn't want to come, and then I ended up being an All-American national champ out of here?
Yeah, and it worked out for my brothers too. They both they were more highly recruited than I was, and they had to turn down schools like Stanford, Wisconsin, for little NDSU way up in North Dakota. So that's saying something for sure.
I know as well. You're attached to Rosemount as well. What has that been like to go back? I had your coach on, a couple years ago when you were going. Of how big a deal. What is that like to go home and be recognized like you are now?
Well, since I'm just a shot putter, I don't get recognized when I go home.
Come on.
People that know me, like people, coaches, family, friends, all that sort of stuff. But I wouldn't say when I go into the Cub Foods in Rosemount, I'm recognized by anybody.
You were on a milk carton though, man. Come on. You were on the milk jugs. I mean, come on. You got to be recognized now.
I'm not sure those milk jugs made it in circulation down to Rosemount too much, but I know in Fargo I'd be going to the grocery store, and people would be picking out milk cartons with my face on it, and I'd be standing right next to them, and they wouldn't recognize me. So I guess that's just the life of a shot putter.
When you got told about that, what was that like? Okay, like I made it like big time. When you found out that your face was going to be on side of milk?
It was pretty cool, but the running joke was that I was missing. So they put me on the side of there because I was just a missing person. But it's still pretty cool. I have people that still ask me if I can get them like an empty milk jug and autograph it for them. So I'm sure that those are circulating around somewhere.
Let's talk about this competition. You mentioned about 2021. Are there nerves for this? Or this is what I've been working for? Or is it a combination of both?
it's a combination, just as every competitor has, you have your anxiety about competing, the doubts get into your head, but you gotta shove them aside and think of it more as an opportunity to show how hard you've been working and and let that show in a meet. So I'm seeing it more as an opportunity. I'm really excited. The hardest part, probably in the last week, has just been the time, the waiting. I'm ready to go, and I don't want to wait any longer. But still got a couple more days.
Does it help or hurt, or you know exactly your competition? You know exactly what those guys are going to throw. So is that in your mind? Say, okay, I know what I need to do.
Yes and no. With these U.S. shot putters, they're all so dang talented that anybody could pop off a huge throw and have a massive personal best. There's no better time to do it than the trials, and there's no better place than Eugene. So you can't really think that you're safe with any mark. Like I could throw a huge personal best tomorrow, or I guess on Saturday, round one, and I wouldn't feel safe until the competition's over. I'd say, no, that's not good enough. I got to raise that. So the talent pool is just too big for U.S. shot put to feel safe for any throw.
To compete there, though, Payton, for those of us that follow track, every couple years we watch the NCAAs, Eugene is a special place. What is that like to be in that cauldron out there? What do you think it's going to be like this weekend?
Well, it's Tracktown, USA.
Yeah.
The fans here are dedicated, and they want to see some big performances. You drive all around town, and you just see Tracktown this, Tracktown that, pictures of people running, Prefontaine, all this and that, and the whole town is truly just wrapped up with track and field. It's such a cool thing, and there's not really another place that's quite like it to compete in the U.S. So I know the fans will be there. They'll be loud, and the atmosphere will be great as always for competition.
Have you let your mind go to, if I do it again, make it for a second time? Have you let your mind go there yet?
Of course, thinking about, obviously I envision mentally the outcome that I want. So I've already been playing through, my perfect throw and the perfect outcome thousands of times in my head to get ready before the actual thing happens.
When you get up there, I mean, are you nervous, excited? Like, okay, let's go. Like, what are the exact amount right before you throw?
I'd say I feel the nerves much more leading up to the meet, but once I'm all warmed up, I'm in the circle and it's time to go, then it's more excitement. I don't feel nervous once I'm in the ring.
Was there any other event that you wanted to do? Like, I really want to try like javelin or was there any other ones you wanted to do, and just this one ended up being the one that you mentioned, discus? Was there another one besides those two?
I wouldn't really say a track and field athlete or event that I wanted to do that I didn't. Javelin, I know it's hard on the body, and I don't have the mobility in my shoulders to make that happen. So I got to do the throwing events. That's what I wanted. I learned really quick in middle school that I did not want to do any more running events. That's what made me a thrower in the first place. I was like, oh, dang, you can do an event that you don't have to run. I'm going to do that.
When was the last time like you ran like a 5K? Was it been a bit?
5K. I probably haven't ran anything substantial since high school wrestling practice.
Well, was wrestling ever an avenue that you thought about going down?
It was my favorite sport in high school, but I knew how hard it was, and I wasn't as good as I was in track, so I knew I'd be able to go further in track than I would in wrestling.
Just a couple minutes left here with Payton Otterdahl. I got to ask you about winning at Drake this year to get the white flag there. How meaningful was that to you?
It was super meaningful. I have family members, girlfriend, they've all won Drake in the past. They all have their white flags. So no matter what I've accomplished, they've always in the past would say, well, you don't have a white flag. I'd say, you're right. And I would have no comeback to that. So now I finally got my white flag, and now they can't say anything to me.
So we're watching the video when you threw it, and you put your arms up right away. So is that, to your point, you knew exactly, this is it. This is a great throw as soon as you left your arm?
Yeah, it was just one of those things that, like, I felt like I hit the cues in the ring that I was trying to do. and it felt really good off my hands. So I knew that that was going to be a big throw.
Before I let you go, fan support, how many do you know, family that's going to be out there, and just what does that mean to you for people that are going to be there to watch in Eugene?
Yeah, I have lots of friends and family coming out, some people I haven't seen in years. I do a lot of private coaching back in Lincoln for high school kids, and I even have some of them coming out to watch. So I'm going to be having, I think, my own little fan section at Eugene, and that means the world to me that they want to come out and support and be a part of this.
And your guys are right in the middle of the track, but the thing is, just everything really stops when you guys are competing, right? Even if there are running events, everybody's watching you guys in the middle of the track.
Yeah, lucky for us at Hayward, they have us right by the finish line. So we're right by where all the action happens. And I know that I don't know how many finals there are on Saturday, but I know that we'll be one of the last ones and that day. So in 2021, they stopped everything for the last round of shot put, and everybody watched. So I'm assuming they'll do something similar for Saturday.
8:45 Saturday night is the shot put final, which you can watch on NBC. It's great to see you, man. I really appreciate the time so close to doing this. Good luck, and let's talk when you're an Olympian again, all right?
Sounds good. Looking forward to being back on. Thank you for having me.
Payton Otterdahl, Rosemount, Minnesota, NDSU national champion, joining us as he competes in the US Olympic trials and the shot put coming up. We'll take a break. We come back. Much more on a busy Friday morning. Hot Mic back after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV, and Inforum.com.